Let's go.
So to catch everyone up to speed, we just shot something last night. It was pretty dope because the last thing we did together was this feature that happened like several months ago. And this was the first for what will be many. Oh, nice. got that protein game strong.
Got a bit of a feast. Disregard. I'm back in Malibu at my parents' place at the moment. Yes, but go on. Yes, the Burnt Mill Road feature.
Yeah, dude. It was the first of hopefully what's going to be many. And the form of what it was so like much fun and so easy to do. And we just knocked it out. And I felt really good about it. And dude, I started editing it today too. And the footage came out incredible.
No way.
Yeah.
Man, we are truly defining this generation of filming on a budget, man. No crew or anything needed.
Camcorder.
So we're modern day Slumdog Millionaires.
There you go. How did you feel about it last night?
Sorry, I'm eating, by the way.
It's really good for audio. That lip smacking.
Oh, yeah. You got to get character in there. The chewing provides character. Last night, I didn't know really what to expect. I know you're good at filmmaking, putting something fun together, and you're so experienced that no matter what, you had a vision, and it was simple enough to capture. And then next thing I know, we talked about bringing on Laura to play the girl. You wrote a script for it too. It was how long was the script even? Like it was probably
like 10 pages.
Yeah, it was no mini short. It was the real thing, and it really lent itself. It was like a Twilight Zone type of idea. You do a lot of these horror shorts already, but have you ever done one where you're the personality in it?
I think I've definitely done one where it was like that, but I've never shot it too. So this was the first time where it's been like acting DP, actor, director.
Yeah.
All the above.
Hey,
have you ever done sound before?
As a matter of fact.
Yes.
I think I had at one point, I took right to holding that boom. It was not that foreign on me. Oh yeah, my mom just reminded me. I was production assistant on like the World Poker Tour tournament episodes like for a long time, and I had to do the camera work, like all the BS crap. What's that?
In Vegas?
They travel around, so they'd be in random places. Yes, Vegas, but also like downtown LA. There's a casino over there. Florida, there's a casino. It was quite the life. Anyway, back to, sorry, I guess I might as well give like a brief play-by-play of like how it all came together, like where I was going with that. So Laura was going to play the girl who the premise is that we get these like hit ups, kind of like the Ghostbusters of like, hey, we have these scary activities going on at our homes or whatever, and can you guys help us with it, Jacob and Duke? And I play a version of myself, you obviously play a version of yourself, and like kind of documentary series, Blair Witch style series. So Laura Lopez, who's the sister of Sophia Lopez, who you're in the writing group with, I'm really good friends with. She's a staff writer now on a TV show. She's super successful. Her sister, equally genius, beautiful, extraordinaire, daughter of Daisy Dukes from Dukes of Hazzard and everything.
Hi, Duke's mom.
Yeah, my mom is pretty big.
Great hearing your voice.
Yes. So it's a family affair here. So Lara helped us out with being able to film at her family house in the Valley. And when we got there, I might as well just go into. All right, so there's a lot. We'll talk about how it was.
Yeah, let's unpack this.
With all that, you go. What were your thoughts and trepidations?
So essentially, I got this idea from another YouTube video that I saw. we basically took the structure from that and moved it over here. And it was just super like easy to follow. I thought that everything happened really seamlessly. I'm really glad that we took 4 takes of the whole thing, because most of the 4th take is what's going to end up being in the final, just because of like audio and a bunch of other stuff.
Before we get into details of how it turned out, let's still harp on like how it came together. So
from initial concept.
What I mean by that? Well, yeah. I mean, you said yourself you didn't expect much going into it. That we were just going to kind of throw it together, even though you wrote like a lot of pages, and it's a super fun setup.
And we even talked on the day of, like the morning of, we were like, like, should this be just improvised or whatever? And we were like, yeah, let's just like kind of, Laura was super prepared. She knew every line perfect.
I wouldn't be surprised if she worked with a coach on it. My mom's like, she's going to be a star for sure, which by the way, she can always reject us, but like we should bring Laura on or you might not like this. We should bring her on to be like the third. Now that the storyline is we saved her home, now she's like, I got a taste of what they got going on. Maybe I've come out on the other side. I'm going to help them. And she could be our third Ghostbuster. Before she gets another series, my mom's saying.
What if we just keep adding the person after every episode? We end up with like 20 people.
Use all the help we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's let that percolate. Sit on that one.
I discovered Mehmet Oz too.
My mom discovered Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz of TV fame. She wants to also put in there. So her opinion on
we'll insert that in the show notes.
What's that?
We'll insert that in the show notes.
Yes, certainly below. But bro, Laura had a big part, a lot of lines. So that was super helpful that she was like word perfect and obviously delivered them like really, really well too.
And I think moving forward, we should like at any actress we have on, like they should be word perfect. Because for us, it's like it works really well. For not you, bro. Both of us. I thought though, like instead of all of us being word perfect, this kind of form works the best if like we're looser. And then
of everyone knowing their lines except for me. And by the way, I will admit, it really helped that you knew the thing inside and out as well. Because you were kind of, I was like joking around. I'm like, dude, feed me the lines. Like, what do I say? At least in the rehearsals. And you just knew it so well that like that was, but if you hadn't, I don't know if it would have been as easy for me to.
I didn't know line perfect, but it was more like the beats of the thing, which I think for any director is super important.
You got to know it inside and out. Yeah.
We're going to ask you questions. Yeah.
But
yeah, so she was word perfect, and then we just kind of ran with it.
By the way,
it
was like, I asked her to act in this small thing that I did as well for my TV show and Duke of the Valley, and she like just came in. We did like a reshoot for a trailer. She wasn't even in the pilot, but we were like,
you guys saw that.
This idea, and she was so good. And on this as well, I'm like, it's so funny to me how good she is without even considering herself a professional actor yet. Right. Really, she has other things going on. She went to USC. She's talking about going to law school and stuff. Yesterday, I mean, I know you felt it too. By the way, you were great, which we already talked about. And yeah, it's one thing that we played ourselves, but like, you're still playing a part, and like we bounced off each other so well. We came up with ideas in the moment. We kind of leaned into things. By the end of it, Laura was like playing up certain aspects, like kind of rather than just playing it like scared. She was like now like annoyed by me. My character ended up. We kind of came up with that idea of like, don't just. She might have like just been trying to be nice at first when I was like supposed to like like
just like aggressively going on to her.
Come on to her when she's telling us a sad story, and she kind of played it at first just like okay, like nice, and then we're like no, don't shy away from being like repulsed from what I'm doing. That
ended up like rolling her eyes.
It was all so natural, and we really found that clarity to those moments to like the comedy. And I thought it worked really well in the same sense that in a lot of horror things that you see, and I don't want to compare it to like a slasher movie like Chainsaw Massacre or something, but there's always moments of comedy in those slasher things,
Yeah, dude. And you bring that too. And that's why I feel like us two bouncing off of each other works really, really well, because
You're
I'm more like,
crack.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
especially in that moment after we came out of the bathroom and she like ran off to her room. We were like, what the fuck? What was that? That was like that perfect moment.
We have a good rapport.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It works well.
I wonder if it's just because we like talk for an hour every week.
That could be part of it. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. And it definitely translated to like looking at the edit, it works really well. And a lot of like 90% of directing is the right casting. And like you said, the rhythm was there. Like all three of us, the way we bounced off of each other was great.
And that translated to the film as well. I'm sure it did.
100%.
By the way, that's another thing. That's a luxury that you don't normally get to do on films. We watch the playback immediately after each take.
True.
And it was a fun exercise getting to do it like Blair Witch style, in that we all knew the camera was there and we were playing it like, you know, a documentary style. So I thought it was so fun every time something would happen. And then you turn the camera to me and I'd kind of look at the camera like it was another person. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't do that expression
Yeah.
but it was really liberating to get to do that, because you can almost take some of that into your other performances where you're not supposed to acknowledge the camera.
Right.
Just like, hey, this level of comfort. It's just an understanding.
I loved it, man. And I love too how we didn't have to like hide anything, because that's the whole premise. We're going in there to shoot it. So it's not like you're trying to hide the mic or anything. Like I love how you use the boom mic, and that was part of it.
So I love my character.
Yeah, man.
Ongoing. I love the idea that I'm just kind of like
You're
little
gonna
bit
just
of a
be that guy every time.
It's so easy.
It's a good look.
It is a little bit. Sophia immediately said, well, literally how I looked. She's like, you look Australian. Partly because I was super tan yesterday from surfing. I have a beard. And I was kind of just like fried.
That just added to it though.
And 100% did it. So coming away from it, I was so much fun, man. Yeah. What else can you say?
I'm looking forward to the next one. I already have the idea basically. Like it would be the same exact form, but I'm thinking the relative, because we'll always kind of keep it a relative, whether it's like the mom or the sister or whatever. And I'm thinking this relative is going to be like really sick and will just be like throwing up this like gross stuff or whatever. And that's going to be the thing, man. And then she like could turn demonic or whatever, but it's just keeping it super simple. We've already got the structure of it, and it's just like replicating that.
It was amazing how easy it was watching it to make it scary.
Yeah.
Like it was scary. Yeah.
It was, bro. All of us were huddled around at the end, like the whole cast and crew. Sophia, who was there, we were all just watching it and we were like, yo, this is scarier than like a lot of stuff we've made. And that was eye-opening for me too, because it's like I get this entire crew together, like 3 grips, whatever. And like the end result of that is nothing even close to like how scary this was, which is like, why am I even bothering for shorts at least? Like, I think it was good practice when it comes to features, but for shorts, it's like, why not just go in with a camcorder?
At the end of the day, well, that's literally, so you're saying you might even change like your how you approach making movies, which is super cool. But also like, it just emphasizes even more, obviously, what you come up with on the day of the product, the story is always king. All that extra stuff, the lighting, the unions, the this, the that, it's all just to support this little thing that could be done with an iPhone, you know?
100%. And like whatever you have within the frame is the most important thing. Like I had those masks that were really like high end, like really good quality. Mm-hmm. But if we shoot that, like I would rather spend the money on that than get like a really nice camera and then like have something that's kind of subpar, because people don't like, an audience doesn't care if you have like this, you know, insanely expensive camera. It's just like
all the externals to disappear. It has to just enhance the story.
100%.
Style is only as good as it makes the story better.
Mm-hmm.
The mise en scene, to use the film term.
Yeah. And dude, there we go. I felt like I was in this period too, when we first started the podcast, I was in this period of like feeling burnout because I'd done like 30 plus of these things.
Right.
And this is like the thing that I needed after
You were
going
like that up
through.
until like a week ago, I think. You didn't want to do short films until like a week ago. And you
Dude,
had this,
I
like,
was over
I
it.
jokingly said, when are we going to work together? And you're like, yeah.
They never. Yeah.
No.
Bro, after last night, I'm like, I'm all about it. Like I'm all in again. So it's like, this is what I needed. Yeah.
My mom's yelling YouTube too. She doesn't know. He already has a lot of followers on YouTube, and so this is going to be fun.
Put Laura in
You should
it.
subscribe.
I will.
Hell yeah.
I'll double subscribe.
Nice.
My mom wants a job. She wasn't Saw, but she'll come down to the JV if it
I will.
if it's for the right cause.
Yeah. Yeah, my son.
That being said, oh yeah, she's a supportive mother, momager. Yeah, so funny, man. Too like horror. Well, I mean, we're gonna be the next Blumhouse.
Bro, that's the dream. That
Mhm.
is the dream. When it
I mean-
comes to burnout, because I feel like it's something that a lot of artists experience. And I think it usually has to do with
Right now.
doing the same thing. Yeah, like all the time. And I think the biggest thing you can do to combat that is just like switching it up completely, switching up the form, like trying something completely new. And then
Okay.
you're like in this new territory. And who knows, like there might be something else that we want to try down the line. But like
Yeah.
for now, it just felt right. Like what we did last night, it's like it just felt like that's the style that we should aim for.
And I pointed out last night, anytime lately I've gotten together with creative people on our feet, guerrilla style filming, like whether it's photography or film, but just get ideas in the moment.
Yeah,
Something good comes out of it.
totally.
Like, so that's exciting. And yeah, I think burnout and stuff, you got to just let time pass. Keep the goals there. Literally live, laugh, love.
Keep
Live,
them all rounded.
have your goals, have your motivations, but then for when that gets burned out and you're bummed, just remember to laugh, keep appreciating things, remember to love, find stuff that excites you. Eat
Totally.
candy.
Dude, I also think like doing this short and like having that comedy be a huge part of it, that was huge for me. Because I was so strictly like horror, like it's got to be super dramatic and scary all the time. But like that's also not always going to be the most enjoyable to watch. People want to see some comedy.
Yeah, you got to
Keeps
layer it
light.
up. Okay.
And then the hit, like the impact of the horror is so much more intense because they let
that's
their
for
guard down. They're like breathing a little bit, and then you just hit them.
I mean, there's all sorts of examples all over the place. The Ring even has moments of comedy at the beginning when there's the idiot film guy that she goes to like play it back, and he's like cracking stupid jokes. It's always humor in horror films usually ends up being a little too broad, frankly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and the main character is always the one that's just like, no, I'm serious. Like, stop like making a joke out of this. Like, we're all about to die.
Right.
And then The Exorcist is obviously known as something that, like, I don't know if there's so much comedy. There probably was moments of levity, but not for the sake of like making the audience laugh. It was more just to capture the human experience. Like, and the acting was so good in The Exorcist. I think it was nominated for an Academy Award for like best film. And that's because, the horror comes as an offset of the story being so specific and everything.
Right.
But that being said, I love that people are out there and you are in pursuit of making new stories that are just, get under your skin and stuff.
Yeah, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
So
What else? My mom's saying she's like pitching us a story right now, real quick.
well, for the next one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Next time we do like B movie actress horror stories, yeah, we could. Yeah. Yeah. Which actually would be really funny, but yeah.
It would be Suzanne Snyder.
No.
Friday the 13th. Both of them.
From Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Well, now that you've done Hallmark movies, I don't think you'd still fly. You forfeited all that.
You gotta reinvigorate the brand.
Yes.
Bring her back.
Yeah. Bring back to the horror world. Yeah. So what else do we got going on? Other than that, is that kind of it on the film front?
That's pretty good in terms of like wrapping it up, I think. I would say what surprised you most about the shoot yesterday?
Good question.
You went in with like no expectations, right?
I'll be honest. You know, it was pretty fun from like an insecure standpoint was not knowing my lines at first.
Yeah.
Being able to paraphrase. Granted, I didn't have like monologues ever. I just had like, one line here, two lines there, and one line here. It was like a lot of reactionary stuff. And then I would say something that kind of like propelled something else.
Yeah.
And I went in and we like rehearsed it a couple times and we had the script in front of us and everything, which by the way, like it's never helpful when someone doesn't know their lines because even rehearsals when you don't have to know it yet, maybe like everyone else gets thrown off of their cues and stuff too. And like Laura, you knew your lines, but like because I didn't really know them, like then you guys are like stumbling over and stuff, and you're trying to be nice. I'm like, we didn't know our lines either, and I'm like, no, because I've been there as well. I've been there where I know my lines like 9 out of 10.
Someone else didn't. Yeah,
someone else didn't, and they're fumbling, and then that made me fumble because I was like, wait, they're not finishing their line, and then I get in trouble. So anyway, that being said, we went from there to we did it a few times, and it felt so fitting like a glove when we were performing it.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That's what it's all about. I don't know if it gets that much in acting. I don't know if it gets that much more fun in that ever. It doesn't matter what the subject matter, as sad as the subject matter can be, or funny or whatever. All you want to do is feel like, hey, you're bringing this thing to life, and it's finding a character right before your eyes.
We were in it. I felt like we were just talking to each other.
Me too.
Yeah.
And there was like, you were surprised in the moment. We were like really listening how you
we were like
and stuff. Yeah.
I feel like I want to hear your thoughts on this, but I feel like we should almost even keep like the lines shouldn't be exact because they would switch up depending on the circumstance. So like in the next one, if the girl's really sick or whatever, you can be like, oh God, like what's coming out of her mouth or something.
Yeah.
But like beyond that, I feel like it would be funny
if
we
formula,
the exact same thing, like the same moment where you come onto the girl, like every time, because it's like people would then get really comfortable with the form, but they would like come for like the new scenario, the new antagonist.
I completely appreciate what you're getting at with that. There's something kind of endearing about a horror genre and doing the same thing over and over, but with like a different point to it, but then like the same basic shape.
Yeah, it's like we're doing a mini sitcom.
Yeah, which is epic. Yeah, we'll definitely explore that.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like paraphrasing is great and stuff, but next time I plan on just being able to make it easier for you guys in the rehearsal and stuff.
I'll have mine down too.
Yeah,
we gotta figure out who we're gonna bring on for the next one.
I gotta. My mom's like, sir. I got a bunch of.
Wow, look at that audition.
Yeah. All right, you got the part. It's gonna have a dance number in it.
Lucy tried to get into Ricky's shows.
Oh, and Lucy and Ricardo. I love Lucy. You haven't seen that movie, by the way, Being the Ricardos?
I haven't.
Dude, have you heard of it?
Yeah.
I bet you have.
Wasn't that one of the Oscar
yeah
for a bunch of stuff? Yeah.
You never know with you though. You never know with you.
Whether you're like strictly horror.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's not doing that great. Like it wasn't reviewed that well. It's one of those things that like I'm like kind of proud of, that I'm like one of the only people that was super excited about it.
So I'll probably hate it.
Yeah. So yes, odds are I thought it did a really good job of capturing the behind the scenes of one of the most popular shows of all time and how witty and smart and interesting and eclectic they were behind the scenes and stuff, and how, it was just, they were all going through their own crap, but they were geniuses. And I thought Aaron Sorkin, who wrote it and directed it, I guess, did a really good job at capturing their voices. It's no easy feat. And that, yeah, the casting was interesting, but They nailed the vibes of all the people. I recommend it, bro.
Nice.
I think it's tough to do a period piece, and they did it really well.
You usually like period pieces.
Usually do.
Yeah.
I think I kind of do too, because it takes a lot to do a period piece, I feel like. And I don't know. It's instantly 1 point for them because it sucks you into that world. You're like, oh, I didn't know about that place or time.
That'd be a crazy thing to shoot because you have to be so like careful not to get anything outside. You have like this amount of space to work with.
That's for sure.
Unless it's a giant budget.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting are we trying to do like we go back to time travel into a horror thing?
We'll get there. I think, like, dude, we can get more and more ambitious with each one of these. Like, I feel like we can get like crazy.
There's no stopping us, bro. We can always, if we got the vision, just do it. Come up with it.
Okay, straight up, when it comes to the next idea, if your mom's actually down, we could have her as if we can like use her home too. We could have her as the protagonist. Her old mom is staying with her in another room, which is like Vicky, who's like this woman that I've worked with a bunch of times. She's super sweet. Vicky is like really sick or whatever. And like, you know, and we go through the same exact thing. Your mom's like, oh, like she's really sick. Like, can you help? Whatever.
That sounds exhausting to me. I'll tell her. Yeah, I'll probably be excited about that. Just having no offense, a stranger actress in the home too. I hate sets. No, I'm kidding. Dope.
Yeah, there's an idea.
Yeah. That's an idea for sure.
Yeah.
What else is going on? How's the rest of your week going?
Rest of the week's good. I'm like kind of lying low. I got this edit, obviously, but beyond that, it's like, it's good, dude. I'm doing kind of a mix between what we're shooting, and also still like, you know, I've got like a script ready for another like more professionally done thing. So I'm going to try to shoot that out too.
Right.
But yeah.
How soon?
Maybe like a couple weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a busy man.
Yeah. How about you? Did you go surfing today?
I did not today. Fortunately, yeah, today's my second day off. Right. And I mentioned we were going to surf early in the morning. No, I ended up going with my dad to the valley early just to visit my grandmother. Just had like a nice little family morning.
Nice.
Got some stuff done. Went to Santa Monica, picked up my surfboard. It was super leisurely. But now I have 2 auditions, one due tomorrow.
Yeah. Did those just come out of nowhere today?
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of auditions lately, fortunately. And I actually found a new acting coach too that my manager recommended.
Oh, you're going with the acting coach. Do you like
them?
them?
After I like make fun of them.
Destroyed the whole industry.
Yeah. Well, they're expensive generally. But I was doing these self-tapes and I kind of talked to some people and they're like, yeah, dude, you know, it's good that you have a setup in your parents' house and stuff. You got the backdrop. I usually film it with my mom. My mom is usually not acting to me though. She's like off camera, like doing the lines. And I'm like imagining that there's someone right in front of me.
Not go behind the camera.
Because first of all, just probably not tall enough generally, like for the eye line. And a lot of these self-tapes, there's like 3 different characters that you end up having to speak to. And so it's kind of annoying when like, if my mom's right there or something and I have to talk to her in the beginning and then it ends up like I talk to someone over there and I'm like looking away from my mom. It doesn't sound like that big of a problem, but I don't know. We just ended up doing it like that. And I I've just kind of been thinking like I want to make them like really, really good, even the production value and stuff. And I'm like, all right, so it'd be nice to have a coach like film with on the day of to literally film it with that like does it for a job. My manager was like, yes, please get a coach. You should be getting a coach on every one of these. But some of these auditions are like little things. Like they're not short films, they're like indie films, but it's like you don't even have time to get a coach and stuff.
Right.
$150. But she recommended someone that's like good, quick, and met with her on the last one over Zoom. And we just like went, broke down the scenes and like we just made it super specific and just enhanced it a little bit. Super painless. It was actually really fun. And it was great. So I wonder what I'm going to do. This one, dude, it's for an indie movie.
Mhm.
It's two scenes.
Movie. Cool.
Horror movie. 2 scenes. I play the lead, the love interest. It's a guy and a girl that like fall in love, and it's drama, like with comedy in it, and but like it's a lot to memorize. It's due tomorrow, and like I have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
you're like decent at memorizing, right? You can do it pretty fast.
I think I'm as good as anyone at memorizing. Yeah.
Yeah, but like how many pages is it? Is it like a full page of text?
It's like 5 and 5 pages.
Damn, dude.
And like, I've done it before where I was holding the pages in my hands and looking down and up, but they frown upon it.
Also, from a director's perspective, I think it's completely unnecessary to get like that much dialogue from a first audition.
I do too. I judge it so hard.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I can get the sense of the actor within like, 3 lines if I want to bring them back.
How dare they like do the next day for the lead of their movie?
Yeah, fuck that.
I wonder if my reps just like forgot to send me the audition. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's the case, but I'm super grateful that I got that. And then I have another one due Monday, and I have to work all weekend, like double shift.
Do you have advice for someone who's in a similar situation? Because there's a lot of actors who like have day jobs and all this shit, and they're going to get 5 pages for an audition. What would you say? Would you like only do one of the auditions? Would you try and memorize it all, or would you like hold it in your hand? How do you go about that?
Dude, it's so tough. Also, like I have a few things going on, but like if acting is your one thing, you put all your eggs in that basket too. Like you got to kind of crush it. There's no excuse for not crushing these auditions.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one thing to hold the pages in your hand, but memorizing it does get you more into the story as well. Like if you're sitting with it longer and trying to memorize, you're gonna like osmosis suck up what the meaning of all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I plan on doing that. I think there's no avoiding it. Every audition is different. You got to just find the time. You got to make sacrifices. It sucks. Like I always have something to do when I get auditions, and I'm just like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that.
Right.
I have to spend the entire weekend. My friends are in town. I have to spend the entire weekend memorizing. And, it is what it is, especially bro, when it's not like prestigious or like really good stuff. You judge it and you're like, are you kidding? Like,
you're like, I know like it could lead to something else, but
yeah,
that level of effort into it for not even knowing if it's not even like you've got the part and you're just memorizing your lines, which is already like enough of a struggle, but it's like memorizing a bunch of lines without even knowing if you're going to get the role. That's the hardest thing, I think.
Remember this, you don't even know if they're going to watch it with these self-tapes.
Right.
You don't get feedback a lot of times.
Right.
So it's like,
and dude, to be honest, when I'm getting self-tapes, I'll open them all. But if it's not the type that I'm looking for, it might be 2 seconds.
Close pretty quickly.
2 seconds.
How mind-blowing. I mean, and obviously, everything happens for a reason. You got to just do your best. But it's, I'm not bitter, but I definitely like don't put it on a pedestal anymore.
Right. It's why I do recommend for actors to like make their own stuff. because you at least know that like you're playing a character. Because for me, I get the luxury as like a director, writer, director, that I'm able, anything that I like do, I know that it's going to be made and I know it'll be seen. And that can't be said for all actors, unfortunately.
No, not even close. Well, that's funny. I mean, I was just saying this appreciation standpoint. 5 years ago, I was like, I had reps that I was like, I'm not even getting auditions. They don't reach out to me ever. I was like, I think you just got to make your own stuff to do anything. Because also some people were telling me like, yeah, that's just how it is. Like Hollywood just sucks. Like you might even get with CAA and they don't send you out for stuff and everything. So
gratitude, all about gratitude.
Yeah.
Dude, in 5 years, you're going to be like, the fuck? I'm only getting $5 million movies. Why can't I be in 10 million? I'm like, dude, do you remember the days when you were just getting auditions?
Yes. True that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, let's call it because you got some lines to memorize.
Thank you, sir. Sounds great.
You fucking killed it yesterday, man.
Ah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, really dope. You're going to love the footage. It looks like, dude, we couldn't have done better yesterday, honestly. I'm so happy with it.
Gosh, that's epic. First of all, it was so fun. And you never know. It could go viral or something.
Dude, when Sophia was saying that, I was like, you're actually right. Like, I can totally see this going viral. It's that kind of style. And I think that's something too that I've ignored, where I was like, I'm a professional filmmaker. Like I can only do like exact setups. But sometimes on YouTube, people aren't looking for that. I feel like this is a structure that people on YouTube want to see.
They're looking for like one punch of something crazy. They don't care how it comes.
Yeah. And they want to feel like they're there. They want to feel like it's actually happening.
Okay. Yeah. Short form. So
there we go.
But thank you so much, man. That means a lot.
Of course.
I know. That's fun that after all this, we like work together again and we just had
such a fun time. It's about time. Hopefully first of many.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Yeah.
All right, big dog. Dude, and how fun for the podcast too, that like we're documenting this.
I love that we can actually talk about something that we're like doing more practical. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's so fun. On that note too, last thing, sorry, I do wonder if we could kind of give advice to people starting out as well. Like, I mean, I think you should approach all things kind of how we approach this as an actor. And I guess there wasn't one way you could learn from it, because Laura approached it one way and maybe got a coach. She worked really hard on it and then ends up like being so natural. Like in the moment, it felt real. She was just talking to us normally, but it was in those circumstances.
Totally.
And for me, that's like the funnest part. I know I'm doing well, and all these things go through my mind as I'm doing them. These different acting tools, even though it's like lame to think about acting stuff when you're doing it.
Yeah.
What comes down to it is like, am I trying to do in this moment what the character would be trying to do on the page?
Right.
That you wrote. And like, okay, so when we first walk in and stuff, like, and I'm not thinking about it. I'm trying not to think about that, my thoughts in that moment, but like, okay, why would the character be nervous? Am I nervous? Like, and it's like, you kind of have to do an impression of being nervous, like get into it. Like, how does that feel real? You might think of, I was thinking about last night for a second, trying to channel like real times in my life and I'm scared and how that felt and stuff. And
yeah,
you don't have to be all corny about it. It's just, these are little commonsensical things and how to role play something, how to get into the mind of something that's happening. Totally. It's not really happening.
And for me, like a non-actor, the thing that really helped me was grounding myself in the present moment. Because when I was there with the camera and I looked up at Lara and she was like being weird, then I just react off of her being weird. Or when we were walking into the bathroom and the creepy creature is like behind the shower, I saw her for the first time. And bro, that's fucking terrifying. So like, obviously you're going to react a certain way.
So you tell yourself, that's super interesting. I should have asked about, what was your approach? You're just trying to genuinely react how accordingly, like how is appropriate to react.
Exactly. And on top of that, what helped is like the few lines that I had, I did know. And so when we sat down and I was like, I said to Laura, like I knew the next line that was coming up was like, why do you think she's acting that way? Because that was already like kind of unconscious.
Yeah, me too, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just with her, looking at her, and then it just came out because I'm with her. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it. And when you're really with someone, like you're putting, you're really just like trying to think about what they're saying, like in a real way. Like, when they're saying, she's going through this thing of like, oh, my sister ran away to the woods. I'm trying to think like, well, why would you do that? And I'm trying to have like real reactions to it,
Totally. And I use that same approach too with like the camera work. So like when you reached your hand out, I was staying in the moment, like, what would I focus on? And it was just zooming in.
That was actually happening.
Yeah, because I'm the character who's controlling the camera. And so it's whatever viewpoint I have. And so I'm like zooming in on the hands, like you reaching for a hand, and then I'll like look up at you. Or if you have this long monologue sitting at the table being like, well, do you think like something would be weird about that? Like I'm like zooming in on your face, and it just made it funnier,
For starters, but you just exposed right there the North Star of acting, which is what would the person in the script be doing in this moment? It could be you, but the reality is you're still playing a part. So it's like you're asking in the moment, okay, what would my character do? Because a lot of times when you're on these film sets, especially from long shoots, and you forget about the script. Really random, but Steve McQueen, the director of 12 Years a Slave and stuff, the British director, he says, a lot of the time when we're doing something, we came down to this location and everything feels so real. And of course, we kind of just leave the script by the wayside. We don't even think about it because everyone knows this stuff, of course, but now we're here and we know the circumstances. We know it's supposed to be 1700 and we try to get into that world. And he's like, he basically just said what you were describing, which is like, now you're there, everything, and you could just like not care and be like, oh, hey, I'm just like on a film set or whatever. Or you could say, okay, my North Star is what was happening in the reality of the script. Okay, this girl, she's right in front of me. And you try to pretend like now she's not Laura, she's the girl Emma. Mm-hmm. We know about it. She emailed us before.
Right.
She has this sister that's scary. I got my buddy Duke or whatever. Like we've talked about with acting, you have those little backstories.
Yeah.
And if it helps you, it helps you. And then at the end of the day, like you said, what would your character do? He would genuinely be interested in this, like you might be in that moment. But I think it makes sense.
I also found myself genuinely pissed off at you as the actor when we were in the bathroom and you were being like loud as fuck. Like, what the fuck is that? And it was just instinctively because I was thinking about like who I am as the character. And then I even said, like, I like said a comment or whatever after I was like, I can't believe that you were like screaming in there, but that wasn't the director talking. That was
the character.
Yeah.
That was the character.
But yours was perfect for the character. And you said that to me and it's so true.
And honestly, that crossed my mind. That's like, I was like, what could I do that's kind of like, the dick of the group,
And that's acting.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, just because you're acting in character doesn't mean it's going to work. Doesn't mean it's going to end up being the best thing for the moment that they end up using in the movie or anything.
Right.
That just means you've done your part.
Right.
That's the first step. So I don't think that's that complicated, what we were just talking about. I think that takes work, but that takes like fun work of like understanding, breaking down the script and analyzing.
Totally. And it was a lot easier to get there yesterday because we weren't dealing with a million people setting up lights and all this extra shit. It was straight up, dude, because we were also being the crew, it was 3 actors and that was it. And that's why it was so fun.
Was indeed. All right, brother. On that note.
Yeah, man. I'll send you the next script soon. We'll get working on it.
I bet you will, man. I'm fired up. You little worker bee, you. All right, brother. Peace.
All right, man. Good luck. Bye.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Bye.